If anybody's tried to figure out what are all the different types of iconographic forms of the Nyingma Eight Pronouncement deities, the Kagye, then I would think that it would be pretty difficult. There are just so many different forms. We have some original texts which have original iconographic descriptions, but then over time we have many variations, which makes it very difficult without inscriptions or a very clear context to know exactly where the iconography originates from and what tradition it belongs to. So the subject right now is Sri Heruka. It's one of the eight deities of the Eight Pronouncement, or the Kagye deities. It's in Tibetan, it's Yangdak Tuk, meaning Yangdak is difficult. We're not really sure how it's back translated to the Sanskrit, and I've actually not found a Tibetan text yet which clearly says what the name is, other than Sri Heruka. So we have this Sri Heruka. It's one of the eight. It's one of the important first five of body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities. This Sri Heruka represents mind. It originates as a single practice, as a mandala with 8 retinue figures, and then it also can be practiced along with the other 7 of the 8 Kagye deities. So there's 2 main ways traditionally that it's said it can be practiced. Now we do have a third context for practice, which also means a third context for visual representations, both sculpture and painting, and that is Sri Heruka as a secondary figure in the revealed treasure tradition compositions, in the terma compositions, where the hand attributes can actually be different. So it's very difficult to know or to identify the figures unless you actually have the Tibetan text in front of you. Now I want to be clear here about this term Heruka. Heruka can have a number of different meanings. Generally, if you're in Sakya or Kagyu or Jonang, then Heruka means a major tantric deity, but in a simplified one-faced, two-armed form. So that would be a Hevajra, Guya Samaja, Chakra Samvara in a one-faced, two-armed form. In the Gelugpa tradition, they generally refer to Chakra Samvara as Heruka in all forms. And in the Nyingma, Heruka generically means a wrathful, male, three-faced, six-armed deity. So now the Sri Heruka that we're talking about, he has 3 faces, 6 arms, wings, and he holds in the right hands a vajra, a katvanga staff, and a hand drum. In the left hands he holds a bell, a skull cup, and a lasso. Blue in color. Now, this can be confused with Mahotara from the Guyagarbha Tantra, or from the 100 Peaceful and Wrathful Deities. 100 Peaceful and Wrathful Deities of the Guyagarbha and the Bardo Todal is a separate system from the Kagye, from the 8 Pronouncement deities. But the Sri Heruka of the Kagye has the identical appearance to the 3-faced, 6-armed Mahotara of the Guyagarbha. So this can lead to a lot of visual confusion. So you have to be careful, because now some might say, well, Mahotara is brown in color or sometimes depicted as red in paintings. Yeah, that's fine, but then there are some traditions that also describe him as blue. So that makes for a lot of confusion down the road, and you just have to be aware of the confusion and then look for a wider context within a painting or within a sculpture group, a group of sculptural forms represented on a shrine. If you don't have a shrine and you have single Sri Heruka or Mahotara sculpture, then no, you don't know. You can't tell what the original intention or identity of that sculpture was. So this is just a little introduction to Sri Heruka and some of the confusions. So press the like button, you can subscribe, you can join Horror on Patreon, and you can also make a donation to Himalayan Art Resources.